John Akers, thanks for joining us on the GGB podcast. It's great to have you here. We're going to talk about player tracking, something you know a lot about, having invented it. So we're looking forward to this conversation. On the phone with us today is Frank Legato, our editor. He'll be writing the story for our March edition, and we're looking forward to this discussion today.
Well, beyond the customer service function that you get from Kai, what else can be done? What's the most important thing you think needs to be developed now in the player tracking function that's not there now?
Well, the difference between service and experience is perception. And we tend to think that, and we started this with Kai, where we were sending employees to go fix a customer problem and saying, oh, here's the metric. We want that employee to arrive within a minute and 12 seconds, and we want them to resolve the problem in another 32 seconds. And we became very mechanical. Mm-hmm. We just presumed that this is the definition of good service. When we started to ask the customers if they were pleased with that service, they would say, no, it's very cold. It might be efficient, but it's not very friendly.
Right.
And now we got to start thinking about how to make the customer feel good about that. And then the next thing we learn is, well, it varies a bunch. We have to learn not across the board, here's the average experience that everybody wants to have, but what is the experience of each and every individual and deliver to them. Some people just don't want to be bothered by anything. Other people want lots of personal attention. So the new frontier is to categorize each individual, to measure their worth, to determine what level of service we can provide, and make sure that we provide that level of service in a way that individual person finds compelling. And that measurement might vary according to whether they're early in their visit or late in their visit, whether it's the end of the month, they're almost out of the money, or it's the first of the month and they just got their check. So we have this tremendous frontier of adaptation for the personality, not as a static thing, but to understand you as a friend and how your mood changes. It really comes back to a study of friendship. When we look at friendship, great friends understand each other. They tolerate each other when one has a bad time or another. And the other thing that we've learned is that friendship is always a two-way street. In the service business, in the promotion business in casinos today, we tend to think of it as, if we give the customer more, they'll be happier. We give the customer more, they'll be happier. All you got to do is stand back and think about your kids. At some point, you give your kids too much, and they just want more.
Right.
And at some point, they are never satisfied. We have to make this a two-way street where the friendship has to come back. And we got to move it away from the bribery that we have right now, which is, if you'll play this, I'll give you this many points, to more of, if you'll reach this level, then you get this, and we're buddies, and we're going to pay attention to you. And it's not going to be so much of a transactional thing, but a relationship thing. And I know that's a little bit soft, but that's where we're at right now, is to learn that. The only saving grace we have is we have two tremendous technologies to help us.
Right.
One is mobile devices, which means the information is where the player is, and the other is the incredible rate of change that's happening in artificial intelligence. I mean, the ability to like, you look at the Amazon Echo, or Google is starting to do the search engine that they do, and they look for the natural language. There's all of these things that are happening, and we can use that very tool of artificial intelligence to understand and cater to each individual person, to give them what they need, to challenge them a bit so they feel like they're giving back. So instead of it being a parent-child relationship, it's a friendship relationship. Then we can completely revolutionize this business, whether it's gaming or non-gaming.
Gaming has always been behind the curve when it comes to technology, largely because of the regulatory challenges. Do you think we can implement this artificial intelligence thing, quickly enough that we'll be able to save what's left of the industry?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the nice thing is, if we focus on the player experience, we have fewer regulations out there. Mm-hmm. Right. The regulations are very strict on the machines. And if you go back in our own past at Acres 4, we started off 5 or 6 years ago doing games. Mm-hmm. And we quickly found out that we were so straitjacketed by the rules of those games that we couldn't make a difference. And just to do a small experiment took a tremendous amount of time. Right. So then we decided to go over to the promotional side and to the service side, or experience side, where we can experiment very quickly without trespassing on the regulators. Mm-hmm. Then we can take what we learned there and move that back over to the gaming experience.